Good afternoon, our viewers at home. Welcome today to another interesting and insightful episode of Insights from Eximeters Legal. My name is Esther, your host, and I have again today our dear beloved friend, Barrister Damola. You're welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone out there.
Good afternoon. So today we'll be discussing, starting another series, and we'll be talking about business and the law. So today our first episode in this series, we'll be discussing issues of business registration and making our case study, majorly Nigeria as a jurisdiction. However, we know that ideally there are different business entities allowed under the law, under common law, under company law, which is operative in Nigeria and in a lot of common law countries like the United Kingdom and even the United States. We have limited liability companies, we have partnerships, we have sole proprietorships, and we have public limited liability companies and private limited liability companies. So we'll be going in depth into what are the issues involved in registering businesses, what are the classes of businesses we can register in Nigeria, for example, what are the capital base required for these businesses, and we'll be asking our guests today some of these questions and gaining insights into these issues. Ride with us as we go along. Thank you very much. Good afternoon again, Barrister Damola, and welcome again. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, majorly, when we talk about business registrations, I am a shoemaker. Must I register my business? For instance.
Okay, thank you so much once again for having me on this show. Okay, so just as you said, we are looking at business and the law.
Yeah.
So to set the record straight, under the law, there's no compulsory requirements for you to register your business if it is carried on in this time. So the law says that you should register your business if you carry on that business under a name different from your natural name.
Okay.
So my name is Damola. If let's say Damola is a shoemaker, if I start my shoemaking business and I'm trading under the name Damola, just Damola, that's my natural name, I don't need to register that name.
Okay.
So the only condition or why the law will mandate that my business has to be registered is if I had another word different from my natural name to that name under which I trade. So my name is Damola. If I now want to use the word Damola shoemaking, then I have to register that.
Okay.
So if you carry on that business using your natural name, so even if it's Adedamola, Ifedayo, Abi, if I use all my 3 names or if I have hundreds of names, if I use all these natural names, I don't need to register it. Mm-hmm. But the moment I had a word that is different from my name, so even if it's just the use of Anko, because we have a lot of people do that. Some people will add the word company to their business name. Some people will add, like so many suffixes now that people now add to their name. So if you are trading with a name different from your natural name, so this is the only reason why you have to register your business. Okay. But then if you look at it in the real sense of it, it makes no sense if I start a business and in front of my shop I just put Damola. People would like query what is happening. Is this person okay? Like it doesn't really make sense. Because we even advise people, even when you're trying to choose a name from your natural name, we always advise people to come up with names that are self-descriptive of their business. So I can't be in the business of shoemaking now and I register a name saying, let's say, Damlex. I just say Damlex. It might not really, if you heard that word, shoemaking won't come to your mind. So I always advise people that when even coming up with a business name that you want to register, it should be a name that's on the face of it, even without you telling a lot of stories. Once I hear that name, I can say, oh, even if I don't have a full picture, but I have an idea of what the business is about.
That's nice. So definitely it's advisable to register your business.
Yes.
Especially when you are getting to a particular level of influence.
Not okay. I would want to like also correct that, or maybe like just expand on that, because when you say you should register when you're getting to a place of influence, as someone who is into the business of registering businesses, we register a lot of businesses, and we have people out there, some of our clients, they already built their Instagram page, and this is the age we have now is such that you can even run your business online. You can, talking about this influence now, people can get to know your business without you even owning a physical space, just an online space. Then your business is out there. We have a lot of foreign businesses that people patronize here in Nigeria, and they don't even have a physical presence in Nigeria. So you don't need to get to that place or to that stage where your business is now widely known. You've built followers, you have thousands of followers. Because some of our clients, sometimes when they come to us, we still had a case last week. The person, by the time the person sent a business name, she already built an Instagram handle. She already had followers. She had been posting things. And by the time she sent the name, when we conducted a search on the CAC portal, because the body that is started with the responsibility of registering business in Nigeria is the Corporate Affairs Commission. So by the time we ran a search on the name, because that's one of the things we do first, you check if the name is available, because in Nigeria you can't register an existing name, you can't register a name similar to a business. So this is why you need to register your business name to protect it. So by the time we ran a search, there are lots of businesses
in that name.
Yes. And when I say a lot of businesses, not like that particular name has several people using it, but you see resemblance. And there was even one that word for word, the way she had it on her Instagram, and word for word is registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission. Why some just had some little differences. So she has to now start looking for how to just patch it so that she can still use a name similar to what she has on her Instagram handle. So you don't have to wait till that time where people already know your business. So long as you know that, oh, I want to start doing this business, before you even open your Instagram page, register the business. I know we are still going to talk about other things. We all know the story of Oga Sabinus. So just imagine his trademark is not registered. Now he has a very good advantage, and I believe the people who infringe on his trademark now, they will
take them to court.
Yes. And if they don't go to court, both of them will meet to discuss on how to resolve it. So these are one of the reasons why you have to register your business. So you don't have to wait till when you have followers, then you now come back to the Corporate Affairs Commission to register your business.
So it's a case of you don't despise the days of little beginning.
Yes.
The moment you have that idea, it's better you go and register before it's too late, and then you can build your business. So thank you very much for that. Before we go on, can you just take us through the classes of business in Nigeria? For instance, we still want to use somebody like a shoemaker, because of course those are basic starting from somewhere. And so a shoemaker, will he just go and open a public limited liability company? You understand? So what are the classes of businesses, and what are the levels? I know there are certain ways the Company Incomes Act, CAMA in Nigeria, says that's the law that regulates companies in Nigeria. Says, okay, if you have so number to so number, then you can do this. If you have so number, maybe one or two people can form this. So can you take us through, the classes of business entities?
Okay. So if you look at the Companies and Allied Matters Act, which is the apex law that regulates businesses in Nigeria, so you see some classifications. So if you are looking at starting your business, you have different options you can explore. So the crudest way, starting small, is business name. And business name, don't be confused, just basically a form of registration open to sole proprietors. So if you want your business to be on a solo level, it's just you have an option, even though you have two options now, going by the new the amendments to the Companies and Allied Matters Act. Before you can incorporate a company, you need at least two. But with the new act, with just yourself, You can be the self-shareholder, you can be the sole director, you don't need to bring in people. But if you just don't want to start on that level of your company, you just want something small, you can register a business name. And if you're also more than one, two, if you are two, three, you still have an option of registering a business name as partnership business. So, but the only thing is you should not be more than 20. Between 1 to 20, you have the option of registering a business name. You have the option of registering a limited partnership, because we also have that option now. But when you are more than 20, then it is mandated. So this is where the mandatory requirements comes to play. Just like it is not compulsory, or you are not mandated to register your business if you are trading with your sole name without any name that is not a natural name. The same way too, it is not compulsory you start your business by registering a limited company. You can start with business name. But when you have more than 20 partners, then you are mandated to register a company, to incorporate the company. And also talking about company too, when you are more than 50 shareholders, it is also mandated to that you move it also from a private company to a public company. So these companies can either be a private, limited by shares, or unlimited, or limited by guarantee. So if we talk about companies limited by guarantee, these are companies that are registered not for the purpose of making profits now. They are charitable organizations. So instead of registering, incorporating trustees as an NGO, you can register your NGO as a company under the option of the private limited by guarantee. So in summary, you have different options. So you can choose to register your business as a business name, but you should put into consideration that you shouldn't be more than 20. You can choose to register it as a limited company. If you are more than 50 shareholders too, it is expected that you move it to a public company. So you can invite the public. You have the advantage of inviting public to subscribe to your shares, to acquire equity interest in your company. But if it is a private company, it is only the members of the company that can subscribe to the shares of the company. You can't sell your shares on the stock exchange market. So this is just like the basic options: business name, partnership, limited company.
Yeah, unlimited
yes.
companies.
Yes.
But I have some questions, arising from there. I know, yes, the law says 2 or more, up to 20, you do partnership. But in practice, can we have 2 people form a business name?
Yes.
And not make it a partnership, but they form a business name?
Yes, when it's 2, it's no longer a sole proprietorship.
It has to be a partnership.
Yes, so it's already a partnership.
Even though they might register it as a business name?
Yes. So you have that. So that's why I say that for business name, it is for both sole traders and partners.
Okay.
So instead of the background that we have before the new CAMA, the new companies and Akinleye-Martins, that says that once you only need to be 2 before you can incorporate a company. But CAMA now says that even just you alone, you can incorporate a company. So the fact that you are two people come together to start that business, you have the option of registering it as a business name still, or you go for partnership, limited liability partnership. So that's another arrangement. We have limited liability partnership, we have limited partnership. So just like the way the name implies, it's just saying that, okay, this partnership, from the beginning, both of us, it's a limited arrangement. So it's not like a general, this thing's kind of reduced my liability in the company, how the company is managed. So you know that, in a limited partnership, there's a partner who takes full responsibility, and there's another partner whose obligations in the company is restricted to what is agreed by the parties.
Yeah, I think we've had a session where we discussed partnership.
Yes. So people can check that video out.
Check that video out. Yes, where we had discussed partnership in detail. Then. But today we are basically talking about business registrations generally, not limited to partnerships alone. And definitely now with the new Company and Akinleye-Martins Act, amended in the year 2020, it obviously shows that if one individual can go and register a company there are certain implications to that, really, because before now, only one person cannot register a company.
Yes.
And we know that there are limited liabilities by shares, public limited liability, private limited by shares, private limited by guarantee,
Yes.
public limited by guarantee, and things like that. So somebody can wake up one day and say, I want to open an NGO, and just go to CAC, there's the Corporate Affairs Commission, and,
Yes.
and register. What are the implications of that? Because it now becomes an issue for just one individual, you know.
Okay.
It now makes it more or less like a sole partnership. Then everybody wakes up one day and say they want to register, as long as they have the money, you know, required.
Okay, so talking about NGO, the requirements of one person does not apply to NGO.
Okay.
So if you want to register NGO, you still have to be two.
Two, yes, definitely.
That is if you are going with incorporated trustees, you still have to be two to do that one. That one has not changed. But if you are incorporating a company, sometimes I think the essence of this is just to is one of the ease of doing business, because we've seen cases where people, in the real size of it, because the law says that you have to be at least two to incorporate a company, then people just bring in someone to just come in. The person is just there like a figurehead. Okay, I want to meet this requirement of two. I want to register my business as a company. I want it incorporated, because there are advantages of registering your business as a company. Because if your business is registered as a company is a person in law. A company has almost the same rights with humans. So a company can sue. You can sue a company. A company can own properties. A company can obtain loan in its name. It can act in its own name. So these are some of the reasons why people go for company registration. So since the law then says that you have to be at least two, we've seen cases where people just bring in someone just to hold that and to just fill in that space of someone who is missing. And sometimes, because you have to open an account, because you have to do some things,
the person is nowhere to be found.
Sometimes you even give some of these people privileges in the company just because you want to just manage it and keep it compliant with the provisions of the law. And we've seen cases where people, as a result of this, lose their company even to some of these people.
Strangers.
Yeah. So, and then too, for compliance purposes too, sometimes if people now evade some duties, from responsibilities and all of that. So in order to just reduce all of this and be able to, if you are saying you are starting a company, who is the owner of this company? So that we can even know who we are dealing with. If you want to talk about compliance, if you want to talk about liabilities and all of that, who is going to be liable? So we can even just focus on one person. So you don't just have 50 people and it's just one person managing the company. And there was a time I was at the Corporate Affairs Commission office before this new CAMA came into being. And one of the CAC officials there told me, like, all these private companies, they are just paddy companies. Because it's just one person who is the owner. You just have other people, they're just like figureheads. So that's why I just like use that word paddy. Like they're just, it's still one man, it's still a one-man show. Yeah. You just have their names on the papers like that. So I think it's a good way, and it will help business owners to be able to manage their business effectively.
And especially even when there's let's say the company runs ultra-virus of certain days and there are breaches, you can easily lift the veil.
Yes, and know that it's just this one person. So company. You don't have to start chasing after a lot of people, especially when they're even nowhere to be found.
So yes, then it makes the fraud agencies, it makes their work easier. Yes, so that at least you can chase the criminal. That's the owner of the company. So thank you very much for that. So are there capital requirements, like or people just, the Corporate Affairs Commission just gives you the leeway to, okay, I've decided I want to open a business name, I've decided I want to open a public limited liability, I just fill the form, and what are the intricacies?
Talking about business registration, like I said, the first thing is always to conduct a search. And all of these searches, name reservation, all of that, is not free. So you have to pay for all. So even at the time of applying for name reservation, you have to pay for it. at the time of submitting your application for registration approval, you have to pay for it. So the only payment you are making at the time of registration is your registration fees.
Okay.
So and these registration fees differ. We have different fees for business name, we have different fees for companies, we have different fees for NGOs. So another thing people always ask is, oh, I want to incorporate a company. There's a need for me to have share capital. Do I need to have this cash at hand? Sometimes people will say, oh, I want to fund the account because my share capital is it. So we have to just go all the way to explain all of that. You don't need to have this money at hand at the time of registering your business. You don't need to show proof of fund. Just like when you want to travel out, they tell you to show proof of fund. So at the time of registering your company or your business name, even business names don't require share capital. So there's even nothing like proof of fund. If you are incorporating a company, you don't need to have that money seated in your account. All you need to do is just to provide the details of the business, such as your name, your address, the company's email address, company's phone number, office line, your personal address or personal details of yourself or any director, secretary, shareholder you are bringing on board. And when I mean personal details, your name, your address, date of birth, email address, your phone number, your occupation, your sex. You have to state that, your nationality. Are you a Nigerian? Because all of these are things that are going to determine even your registration fee. So for instance, if you have a foreigner on board, there's a share capital requirement. So this is where people need to also pay attention to your line of business, or the structure of business also determines your cost of registration. Because we've also seen cases too, some clients will say, oh, this particular business was registered at this amount, and now you want to do something different from what was registered before. And when you tell them, oh, this is what it will cost you to register this business, then they refer you to someone who did the business registration for them at this amount. And when you check what they did at that time, maybe they incorporated the company with just 1 million share capital. But now the company you want to incorporate now, you are looking at 200 million share capital. It's the higher your share capital, the higher your CAC fee and stamp duty fee. Because stamp duty is even ad valorem, is according to the value of what you have.
Share capital.
Yes. So all of these will determine the cost of registration. Then your business too. There are some businesses that the CAC already have like a threshold. So like, for example, if you want to carry on the business of private security company, we now have private companies now that provide security services. Yes. Example of Allogene. So if you want to do something like that, you need to have at least 10 million share capital. So you can't incorporate that kind of company with 1 billion share capital.
So your type of business, the kind of business you want to do,
will
determine the cost of registration.
Yes, they can determine the cost of registration and the share capital you can register with. Because on a many business, the minimum is just, even though the law sets it below 1 million, but in practice you won't see people register for 500,000. The least people do now is 1 million. So even though that is like a widely used share capital threshold for everybody, but then if you want to do some businesses, like you want to go into venture capital, you need 20 million share capital to do that. You want to go into asset management, you need 200 million share capital. Some are 150 million share capital. So it depends on what you want to do. And the higher this share capital, the higher your CAC fee, the higher your stamp duty fee too. So, and even some businesses, if you want to register them, there are some that you can just do name reservation for. There are some you need consent. So let's say, for example, you want to register a holding company, you want to register a group of company, you need to seek consent. So all of this,
the consent from the Corporate Affairs Commission.
The consent of the Registrar General of the Corporate Affairs Commission. So all of this will either increase your cost of registration or give you a lesser amount. Though there is a standard and fixed amount. So irrespective of like let's say for all these 1 million share, okay, there's a standard fee, so it doesn't go less than that, but it goes more than
for those that the share capital are more. So, and it's very important for us to be able to understand this, because things have changed. like especially in Nigeria, from the old corporate Company and Akinleye-Martins Act to the new one now, and the amendment of 2020. A lot of people are still grasping with the what does Kama now say? You know, like this issue of one person can form a company was not there before. However, what's the implication of that? Then how does it work?
Even the banking sector, like they still also need to get themselves more need to have more information. With this provision of the Companies and Other Matters, and particularly with regards to incorporation documents, because sometimes before now CSC uses different forms. So you see from CSC 1, from CSC 2, CSC 7, and all of these CSC this, CSC that they cover for different things. So like for example, before now, from CSC 2 is the CSC 2A is the form that has for shareholders. If you are doing allotment of shares or for new registration. From CSC 7 we have directors. We have another form for change of address. So all of these things, and these are forms that you will be given at the time of incorporation. So then if you want to open a corporate account, you need to provide all of these forms. So sometimes if you are doing it online, you already have all these forms there, like it's already like fixed already. So all you need to do is just to, where you see from CSC 7 you upload it, where you see this you upload. So now that CSC, they didn't just amend the law, they also changed all these forms. So now all these from CSC 2, CSC 7, CSC 3, CSC 1.1 that they were, everything that is now in one single document, and that is the status report. So this status report now has both the form for address, form for company secretary, form for directors, for shareholders. It even has persons with significant control, everything in one single form. Still, yesterday, someone still called me and said they want to open a corporate account, and the bank is asking for CSC 7. And I said, you don't have CSC. You don't even have CSC 7 in the first, because you can't give what you don't have. What you have is status reports. And she's not the first. Like, I've had to, there was even one we had to send some mail correspondence with this financial institution they were trying to register, because they kept asking for CSC 7.
So obviously a lot of people have not really understood the new requirements under the Company and Akinleye-Martins Act, you know, and that's why it's very, very important, because once there's a new amendment, yes, the old provisions, some of the old provisions will be there, but some old provisions have been removed and replaced with new provisions, and
some were even improved
improved upon, because we're in a global world and things are evolving and changing. The economy is not static, neither is the law static. So the law has to keep evolving, and that's why all these financial institutions, even other businesses, have to acquaint themselves with what does the law say. You know, and it's very, very important. Every business needs to understand the law, and majorly that's the rationale for this series, you know, that we're having. You know, yes, we're talking about commercial aspect of law, but how do businesses understand, you know, what steps they should take legally, you know, when it comes to this thing. So yes, it's very, very important. And the way it operates theoretically is different from the way it operates in practice. And we have to be able to bring people that are in practice, you know, to be able to explain to us what happens on a day-to-day, you know. Thank you very much for that. So is business registration enough? You know, yes, I've registered my business, I've met Corporate Affairs Commission's requirements, but is that enough for me? Are there tax implications? You know, now we have a new amendment on the Tax Act, you know, and on Company Income Tax Act. You know, I think that was 2021, just last year, and the Finance Act. And a lot of things have changed, even with VAT, you know, and things like that. Now, a new business coming up, what's the tax requirement? What are the tax implications? Is this still the same taxes we have to file? You know, things like that. So can you run us through what are other things required after the business is registered? Is just registration with CSC enough?
Okay. Thank you for this very beautiful question. So over the years of also dealing with business owner, this question is something that we face every time we are done with business registration. And this was and what prompted us, the reason why we started a series in our organization, what's next after business registration. Because we noticed that once we are done with business registration,
people go to sleep.
some go to sleep, and even those who didn't go to, yes, a lot of them go to sleep. And even though sometimes some of them you think they're not going to join those going to sleep, they ask this question, like let's say 7 out of 10 ask the question, okay, what next? What else do I need to do now that my business is registered? And some of them, after running them through, oh, this is what you need to do, you need to do this, you need to do that, you still find out that they don't even do all of this. But
because they don't know really.
Yes. But then sometimes when they now need to do some, because the way CAC is structured, we have pre-incorporation, we have post-incorporation. So when we talk about pre-incorporation, we are talking about the process of reserving your name, from your name search to your name reservation approval, to filling your details, up to the point of approval, registration approval, getting your CAC certificate. So once you get your CAC certificate, you've moved from pre-incorporation. So anything you do after your business is registered, so let's say you change your address, because these are also things you need to do as a business owner. You change your address, you need to notify CAC, you bring in a new director, you remove a director, you increase your share capital, you alter your object clause, and all of this. So these are things you need to bring to the knowledge of the Corporate Affairs Commission, because this is a body, like we said, they're like the mother, or not even the mother, and they're like the hospital of business. So anything you want, when you want to check a business, is this business LD, you can check the Corporate Affairs Commission. So that's why you see some businesses, when you search them on the CAC portal, you see inactive, you see some active. So sometimes you might want to query, why is this business inactive? So it's just like when you put to bed and you don't go back to the hospital for checkups. Sometimes the baby might get sick and you have to now go back. Things that what you should have done, if you've taken that child for immunization, you would have avoided some infancy disease and the likes. But because you failed to do that, now you have to, and you see that it costs more.
Yeah, for businesses.
Yes, for businesses. So after registering your business, that is not all that you need to do. And in fact, like we talked about, some line of business requiring you to have a share capital. Some line of business too requires that after registering with the Corporate Affairs Commission, after getting your incorporation document, you have your CAC certificate, your status report, your memorandum and articles of association, if it is a company, your status report and your CAC certificate, if it is a business name, you have this. Some business still requires that you get permits. Some still requires that you get license. So this is why you need to
from regulators.
Yes, you need to know your industry regulators. You need to know the provision of the law, and that's why this series is organized, business and the law. So you can know what the law says about your business. For example, if you want to go into money lending, you need to get a money lender's license. So registering your business is like phase 1. Getting your money lender's license is phase 2. Because if you look at the money lender's law, it is only business owners or companies that have a money lender's law that have the right to lend people money and charge interest. So if you don't have a money lender's law, fine, you can.
The person will just be a loan shark.
Yes.
Yeah.
So though we've seen cases of the courts trying to just mitigate, trying to just reduce the harshness of this provision of the law that says that only money lenders have the right to lend money and charge interest. Because we've seen cases where people want to use this loophole, because you don't have a money lender's license. You obtain money, you use the money. It was like it saved you, but now you want to pay back. You're not saying, oh, because you don't have a money lender's license, I won't pay you back. Or even if I pay you, I won't pay you interest, because you are not a money lender under the law. You don't have the right to charge me interest. And some people were able to make away with payment of interest. And we've seen cases where the court says that the court like it's also it comes in from the angle of equity. You benefited from this, you signed it, so you can now use the law. But then why should you go through through that phase of having to now beg equity to come into place when you can do the right thing at the right time to save you a lot of stress? So if your business is such that you need license, so let's say you're also into production of food products and like there's NAFDAC, you need to have a NAFDAC registration number. Then for some businesses too, you need to get your special control unit or money laundering certificate. That's SCUMO. You need to register with SCUMO to get a SCUMO certificate. If you have a SCUMO certificate, for some businesses, you won't even be able to operate your business account. So even if you're able to open a corporate account, at a time the account is going to be restricted.
Even banks require
this. Yes. So it's not all businesses though that require SCUMO, but there are some that are stated in the SCUMO regulations. So you need to know what the SCUMO regulation says about your business. Is your business part of businesses that should
have the money laundering?
Yes, money laundering certificate. That's SCUMO certificate. So let's say you're a car dealer, you need to have a SCUMO. You're into farming, like it's even very funny. If you're into farming, you need to have SCUMO certificate. You're into sales of jewelries, you need to have SCUMO certificate. You're into you operate a supermarket, you need to have SCUMO certificate. You are into the business of real estate, you need to have SCUMO certificate. Consultancy business, you need to have SCUMO certificate. Importation, you need to have SCUMO certificate. So sometimes people just register their business and say, oh, put import and export and all of this, put freight forwarding, because they believe that, oh, if I have these objects in my business, like they are big and heavy objects that can fetch me money. But if you are looking at the compliance part, can you manage this business, or you just register the business, you just want to do it? So you need to know what the law says. Do I need to get a SCUMO certificate? Then you should be prepared for SCUMO registration. Because we see people after registering their business, and when they now have issues with SCUMO, some will say, oh, please let me remove this object, I don't want it again. Like I still had this same scenario just 2 days ago. Someone who has an importation in his business, but because he's not ready to go through, because SCUMO registration,
it takes a lot. You have to go to the FCC.
Yes.
A lot.
Some people don't want to go through that stress, and it was like, please, let me just remove importation from my business. So these are things you need to know. You need, for business name, both business name owners and incorporated company, you need to register for TIN. That's tax identification number, because you also need that. It is even a requirement, even though it has been the position before the Finance Act, to say that if you don't have to, you'll be able to operate a corporate account. But the Finance Act now makes it express.
Your tax identification number.
Yes, your tax identification number is now a requirement for you to operate an account. So if you don't have tax identification number, you won't be able to operate your bank account. So you need to register for TIN. And for companies, TIN comes with your CSC certificate. But for business name owners, you still need to apply to the Federal Land Revenue Service to get your tax identification number. And after getting your tax identification number, you don't go to sleep. So there is a requirement of tax payment, and there are different taxes depending on your business. So if it's a business name, you need to remit your personal income tax every month, or you do it yearly. If you are the owner of the business, you do it yearly. But if you have employees, you remit it every month. If it's a company, we have companies income tax, which is paid yearly too. And if you have employees in the company too, you have to pay personal income tax for them too. Then if you're into the business of sales of assets, or let's say land and the likes, we have capital gains tax. Or when you even sell your cars, the private individual, it is also expected that you pay capital gains tax on any profit on disposal of assets. So all of this regulates different activities. We have value-added tax, which is paid by your customers. It is not, is an indirect tax, so you are not the one paying it, it is customers. So you need to charge VAT and remit it within 21 days of collection. Within 21 days after from the month. So if this charge, if VAT is paid in the month of January, or not before 21st of February,
you have to remit.
Yeah, you have to remit your value-added tax to the FIRS. So these are things people need to know. And talking about these tax payments, the law now makes it easy for business owners to say that if your turnover is not up to 25 million, then you are exempted from paying tax as a business owner. And if you have employees whose income in the business, or whose income, what you pay them, their salary is not up to the minimum wage too, you exempt them too. So the minimum wage is 30,000. So if you have a staff that you pay 20,000, 25,000, you don't pay tax for them because they earn below the minimum wage. So if your business turnover, let's say for companies now, because companies tax is percentage based. So if your turnover for company, if you operate a company, if your turnover is below 25 million, then your tax rate is 0%. So that's no tax. But then you still have a duty to file returns, because that's even how the government will know that
you are not making money.
You are not making that threshold. If you are within the threshold of 25 million to 50 million, that's another percentage. Between 50 million to 100 million, that's another rate. 100 million and above, that's another rate. So it's 0, 10, 20, 30. So you need to know where you belong. And that is why you need to have all of these structures in place, because if you don't know where you belong, sometimes you can even be overpaying. And you just assume that, oh, my business is worth this amount, then you keep paying. You either overpay or you underpay. So these are things that you need to look out for.
Thank you so very much. And it brings us to the fact that as businesses or business owners, companies, we have to get the right information and get the right consultancy advice from the lawyers. Because these days we see people just register businesses.
Yes.
And they don't get advice afterwards. And the business eventually runs into issues, regulatory issues. And that's why we're discussing this. Get the proper advice. Know what it entails. You know, even at the point of you creating the objects of the business, drafting the memorandum and article of association, your lawyer should be able to advise you properly. Yes, if you are going into this kind of business, this is the implication of it. You know, it's not just enough, but because everybody just wants to go into the big names, you know, as she said, like, okay, just put mining. And if you just put mining, you need a license.
Yes, there's a threshold.
There's a threshold. You know, you don't just put mining and you just feel that, okay, you just pay the same money that somebody who is shoemaking, or you put oil and gas. You have to have a license. You know, it's not just enough to just have this company certificate. There are aftermaths of such registration in terms of, okay, these are other things you need to have. And that's where so many companies run into problems when the regulators are now asking for these things. And there's a need to make sure that proper structure is being built, you know, even from the foundation, so that the business does not run into issues eventually. So today we've been able to discuss some of these issues about the basics of business registration, especially in Nigeria. You know, what the Corporate Affairs Commission, which is the regulatory agency for companies, what do they require? What do they demand? Now we see that even now, based on the new act, under the Finance Act, based on the new amendments to the Company and Allied Matters Act, which is the regulatory law for companies in Nigeria, certain things have changed. And other institutions, like financial institutions, also have to understand the change, especially even with Corporate Affairs Commission, you know, that the forms have changed. Before we know CAC 7, we call it CAC 7 as form of directors. Now you have everything in a status report, and I think I remember I saw that status report. In fact, the status report now makes it very simple, you know. So all these agencies have to also be able to acquaint themselves with what the law says, because you cannot be doing the same thing the same way and expect a different result. So it's very important for people out there. Yes, Nigeria, for instance, we see the government encouraging entrepreneurship, but there are implications to the entrepreneurship. because you have to set up your business, and it's advisable that you register your business. But when you're registering your business, understand the basics, and these are some of the basics we've explained today. You know, Barrister Damola is from Law Ascent, and their law firm also deals a lot with some of these business registrations, and you can reach out, you know, to us, you know, to understand some of these things better when it comes into practice, or if you need, you know, further consultation. So, Barrister Damola, thank you so much for coming today, and thank you for helping us start this series, you know, the business and the law. So from us today, we say thank you for joining us. Have a lovely weekend, and definitely we'll bring you a new episode under this series of business and the law next week. Thank you, and God bless.